Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to Madam Aisha and everyone else. We are from Group 4 from SR243B. Today we're going to talk about the types of decisions and the common decision error made by managers. My name is Muhammad Azrai bin Muhammad Zunaidi. My fellow group mates are No Shafika binti Kirudin and Muhammad Fikri bin Zulkifli. So before we start with the presentation, I will be talking about the contents for a second. Firstly, the overview. What is decision and how and why it is important? Secondly, we're going to talk about the types of decisions. We're going to learn to differentiate decisions and where to apply them. And lastly, the common decision error. We're going to learn how to acknowledge and minimize risky decision to prevent error.
Good morning everyone, my name is Fikri. Today I will present about what is decision. According to the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, the term decision making means the process of deciding about something important, especially in a group of people or in an organization. A decision can be defined as a course of action purposely chosen from a set of alternatives to achieve organizational or managerial objectives or goals. Decision making. Decision making is vital to all management activities. It helps set definite objectives, prepare plans of action, determine organizational structure, motivate personnel, and introduce innovations. These are steps on making effective decision. First, define the goals. Second, ensure that the decision will contribute to the goal. Third, adopt a diagnostic approach to decision making. Fourth, involve subordinates in decision making process. Fifth, ensure successful implementation of the decision. Sixth, evaluate the results. 7. Be flexible and revise the decision which does not yield the desired result.
Now, we are going to discuss about the types of decisions in management functions. The most common type of decision is a program decision. Program decisions relate to those functions that are repetitive in nature. These decisions are dealt with by following a specific standard procedure. These decisions are usually taken by lower management. For example, granting leave to employees, purchasing spare parts, etc. are program decisions where a specific procedure is followed. Now there are three main components of a program decision, which are procedure, rule, and policy. Firstly, we're going to talk about the procedure. What is a procedure? It's a series of sequential steps that can be interrelated, used for reacting to a formal problem. Secondly, the rule. And the rule is an explicit statement telling managers what they can or cannot do. The policy is actually just a guideline to make decisions. The second type of decision is called the unprogrammed decisions. Unprogrammed decisions arise out of structured problems. These are not routine or daily occurrence, so there is no standard procedure or process to deal with such issues. Usually, these decisions are important to the organization. Such decisions are left to the upper management. For example, opening a new branch office will be a non-programmed decision. Aside from that, it is also new and unusual. The information is ambiguous or incomplete. The goals are vague. And also it takes a long time to solve a problem. And the solution usually relies on judgment and the creativity of the manager itself.
Why? Have you ever wondered why do we make wrong decisions? Maybe we make wrong decisions once in a while, but in other cases, maybe we make decisions quite often. So if you have made a wrong decision before, or maybe in the future you will, and the next slide is for you. Hi, I am Shafika, and I'm going to tell you about common decision-making error and biases. In reality, when someone is too confident in making a decision, that person is prone to making a mistake or making an error. For example, if someone doesn't want any opinion from others or doesn't want maybe a slight confirmation, that person might be too confident in making his decision and thinking that he will always be right. Second, when someone that always look for unnecessary confirmation from everyone. Sometimes you do need confirmation from some certain people, but always look confirmation from people that know what you are doing and have knowledge in what you are trying to decide about. Third, judging too fast merely on the surface. When you judge too fast, too quick, just by looking on something that is initial or something that is just on the surface, that you might doing something wrong. Next, when we grasp too hard on the initial ideas and decisions. For example, you're deciding something and maybe that decision is already good enough. However, then another information came in and then you want to stick to the initial ideas too, knowing that the initial idea doesn't and will not work out with when the new information is given. Next, avoid better decision because of risk. Yes, we do want to minimize risk. However, some decision is better to take higher risk than less risk. So know what risk you are taking and know how big is the risk. Next, when someone is failing to face reality. When someone is too optimistic and fantasize often, they often mislead to less error and the outcome. So that person wanted to go for what he fantasized in. For example, he knew that the reality is bad. However, that person doesn't want to face reality because he just doesn't want to. Yes. Next, failing for self-deception. The lack of perspective combined with needing and wanting to see ourselves and our circumstances in certain way is why self-deception is so potentially dangerous and debilitating if it runs too deeply or in too many directions when making a decision. This relates to failing to face reality. When you are lack in perspective and you want to see ourselves and our circumstances in a certain way means we doesn't want to face reality and you fail for self-deceptions. Next, going with the herd. This is something not new since we ourselves usually doesn't want to be weird or doesn't want to be different when we have a different kind of opinion when everyone else have different kind of opinion and you don't want to look different or worst case scenario, your decision or your opinion is totally wrong. So you might think it's wrong sometimes, but maybe it's not. But you choose to go with the herd. You would follow everyone else just because everyone else is making the same decision. Doesn't matter it is wrong or right, or maybe your opinion is better. Next, rushing and risking too much. This could relate from judging too fast merely on the surface. When you rush, you look for information that is right in front of you and you don't want to think further back. So you tend to rush and probably you would risk too much. Even though you think that you are risking this much, that probability you are risking more than that is more. Next, trusting your intuition heavily. For example, yes, everyone has their own intuition, especially female. Female loves to follow intuition so much. And sometimes we could be following our intuition too heavily. So try to think what is the reality, and maybe you could trust your intuition, but it's not the main thing to do. Next, ignoring consequences. When you know the risk when making a decision, you know how big or how small the risk is. However, you choose to ignore. Ignoring consequences is bad because when making a decision, you wanted to ignore the consequences, you will bear the consequences later. So next, let me tell you how to avoid it. First thing first is focus. You have to focus on the goals and objectives and the mission that your organization brought to you. Okay? So when you are focused, always consistent and focused in everything you do, so the probability of you going to make an error is less. Next, don't try to overthink minor events. For example, one of your operatives has a problem, and then you start to make a big decision that applies to everyone in your organization. This is obviously wrong, since the only person is having a problem is just one person in your organization. So don't try to overthink minor events. Thinking too much is also bad. Next, always opt for less risk with better outcome. This usually means, for example, finance. Take something with less budget but with better outcome. However, if there is something with in between less risk with better outcome and less risk. If there's something which is less risk and less outcome, or bigger risk with better outcome, you should always opt for the latter, since you should know what is the best for your organization. Next, make sure to gather enough information and opinion before the final decision. Get to know where to get your information and where to get your opinion before making the final decision. Don't take opinion or information from someone that is unknowledgeable and certainly doesn't know about what you are doing. So, for example, Elon Musk's failure. Everyone here knows that Elon Musk is someone who is successful, one of the successful people in the world, and he is really wealthy. He is the owner of SpaceX, which is a rocket company. For example, in CRS-7 mission in 2015, SpaceX, which is Elon Musk's company, Falcon 9 rocket was destructed on a mission to the International Space Station. So this failure, this error, why does it happen? Turns out it was a design error. As we all know, Elon Musk is someone who makes weird and really unique decisions sometimes, and he is someone who is really confident. So maybe this design error is a result of him being too confident and being too confident with himself. Yes. So 2016 and 2019, SpaceX fixed the error and made a proper version of Falcon 9, flown their rocket successfully 31 times since the accident with one failure. So after Elon Musk recognized his mistakes, he started to design another design of Falcon 9, and he has been successful since then. And in 2019, CRS-14 was launched together with NASA. So as we can see from this event, Elon Musk made an error and mistake in the past. However, later in the future, he fixed it and he learned from his mistake. From the error that he made, he should not be too confident. Yes. So this is what we are talking about. Error in decision. So we are going to recap our presentation today. So the first presenter, Muhammad Azrai, already talked about decisions are vital actions made to determine and achieve an organizational goal. Second, there are three types of program decisions, which is procedure, rule, and policy. Third, unprogrammed decisions are vague, new, incomplete, and/or unstructured. Fourth, before deciding, avoid being too confident, ignoring consequences, rushing and risking too much, or relying heavily on intuition. Instead, try being goal-focused. Think optimally and gather adequate information on the decision that you are going to make. So good luck in making your decision, whether it's programmed or unprogrammed. So thank you for listening to our group presentation. Remember, your only limit is your mind.